But Juliana, where can I even buy a pair of used running shoes? So today, friends, we are going to be talking about where do I even buy a pair of used shoes and what are the best resources for me if I'm looking to purchase a pair of used running shoes. Well, we'll get to that in just a second, but if you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Juliana. I am the host of Shoe Eating Monster and also the Shoe Eating Monster themselves slash itself slash myself. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment below if you have resources that you'd like to share with everyone as to where you find the best running shoes used online. So let's dive on in to where you can even start looking for a pair of used running shoes. So for me, I have three leading ladies when it comes to places that I find have the best variety, selection, and also just availability of used running shoes. And those are going to be eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And we're going to break those down for you right now. So our first one, eBay, a classic. We all know eBay. We've all purchased something on eBay before. We all know how generally it works. There's generally a bidding system, though you can purchase shoes outright. I will say, so eBay is the best if you are looking to do some kind of bidding process and that's kind of your shtick. You like doing an auction and not like an offering kind of system. And there are actually quite a few retailers that are technically secondhand shoe suppliers that are going to be able to sell you brand new shoes that are at a discount that's probably a little bit less than what the shoe brand itself is selling it for. So, for example, there's one shoe retailer over on eBay called Chewbacca that I have purchased quite a few shoes from, and their general setup from what I've seen is that they will sell the back model of the shoe. So say I actually just bought the Puma Forever Run 1 because the 2 just came out, and the Puma website was selling it for like $90 because they've discounted it. And the Chewbacca people were selling it for about like $75. So it's a little bit cheaper than buying it on the retailer website, but you are getting the shoe brand new. So I would say if you're looking to do any kind of like bidding process, or you are looking to get brand new shoes that are the back model, a little bit cheaper than it would be on the retailer website, then eBay is probably the place for you. Now, our next one is going to be Poshmark. And I will say, I have found the most success on Poshmark. They tend to have just the most variety of used running shoes. And it definitely seems to be the best for me when it comes to just the amount of used running shoes that are on there that are in good condition. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. Maybe because people just prefer the layout of that website as opposed to like Mercari, which we're going to talk to about in a second. But this is very similar to Mercari in the way that there'll be a price that's set for an item, and you can offer up an item price that is less than that and kind of propose an offer to the person who has the item. You can also search things by brand. Like I was looking at ultra running shoes this morning, and you can sort all of the ultra shoes that are tagged. I will say not everyone is great about tagging their shoes correctly, which we'll get to that in just a minute, but definitely this is a good place to go if you want the largest variety of high quality used shoes. And it does offer the like offering a price kind of bartering system that Mercari is also going to offer to you. And I will say that generally speaking, I feel like there's just more higher quality used shoes on this as opposed to Mercari. But it's worth trying out all the sites because a lot of people will not list their things on Mercari or not list them on Poshmark or not list them on eBay or list them on just one of these sites. So I always try and look at least all three before I make a decision. But I would say that Poshmark is probably my best place where I found the most like high quality used shoes. You can also send messages to the people as with eBay and also with Mercari to like, what's going on with this shoe? Can you send me a picture of the tread of this shoe? How many miles are on this shoe? So always feel free to interact with the people who are selling the shoes. Hopefully, if they're a good seller, they will respond to you pretty quickly. And then you can kind of gauge like, okay, they said that this has 50 miles on it, but it looks like it has 100 because it looks like pretty beat up. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to use my best judgment and say maybe I'll move on to a different pair of shoes potentially. But definitely feel free to ask questions of sellers about different items, and also to send offers out to people and let them kind of decide, hey, I want to sell it for this much. I don't. You never know. Someone could list something for $50. You offer $20 and they take it. You save $30. Why not? And like we said, our last main leading lady is going to be Mercari. This is kind of my second in command to Poshmark, where, like I said, there's just not as much variety on this website. I just don't think it's as popular as Poshmark when it comes to people selling used items on it. So it just, generally speaking, doesn't seem to have as much variety for me. And I feel like there's just a lot of more highly used items on this website as opposed to like lightly used items on Poshmark. So I would definitely recommend checking out Mercari. I've gotten quite a few shoes on Mercari that are in fabulous condition, but I feel like you just got to be a little bit more diligent with your searching when you are looking on Mercari. And again, with the same with Poshmark, you can offer up a different price than the person has listed, and then you can also message the people, which I highly encourage you to do if you have any questions. Definitely ask people questions, and if you need answers, there you go. Hopefully you get them. Last but not least, we are going to touch on just a few other resources that we have for finding used running shoes online. And the first one is going to be pretty obvious, and that's going to be Google. I will say the only caveat with Google is that it lets you filter the running shoes by size, but it doesn't do really any kind. It's bad. It's very bad. It has no. Its AI is not up to the point where it's able to pull the correct sizing information accurately. So Google's a good place to start, but it's not where you want to do the majority of your used running shoe shopping, because it's not going to really be exact on the model or even the size or the brand that you're looking for most of the time. But generally speaking, it's a good place to start just to see what's even out there. So I would recommend a Google search. I wouldn't recommend using that as your only option, though, because it's not going to accurately sort things specifically by running shoe size. It's terrible at that. It's so bad. So look at Google, but don't use it as like your Bible for this specifically. That being said, you can also use other used retailers like Depop, and you should also, if you'd like to, go ahead and check out Facebook Marketplace. You never know if someone down the street is selling a used pair of shoes or not that you might want to get your hands on. Just a few other tips too. So within different used retailer sites like Poshmark and Mercari and also eBay, you can create saved searches where you can search for an item and put in all the specificities like the size and the brand and all these things, and then you can save them, and that will also send you a notification every time a new item is listed in that category specifically. So say you want to buy a new pair of Asics Nova Blast 5s, you can create that search, like search Asics Nova Blast 5, select I would like to wear a size 9.5 and I would like it to be in the ladies shoe category, and then bam, yes ma'am, you can click save search, and then that will save those specific search terms for you, so that way every time a new item is listed that falls into all those categories, the website itself will notify you, so that way you can be on top of making sure that you get all the shoes that you are looking for. And then my last tip for you guys is going to be just a little bit on how to search for shoes when you feel like you're hitting a wall. And I would say change up your search terms. One of the biggest challenges with finding used shoes online is the fact that a lot of the people who are selling them don't know the exact models that they're selling. And so they'll just list like Adidas running shoe. And it could be the Boston 12, it could be the Evo SL, it could be an old model from like 1995. And they just put Adidas running shoe. So I always double check that I'm searching for not only these specific models. So if I'm looking for the Adidas Boston 12, I'll search Adidas Boston 12, and then I'll also search Adidas running shoe and sort it by my size, because you never know if you're going to come across a shoe that is the shoe you're looking for, but it's just listed under a generic name because the person selling it just doesn't know what model it is, which is completely understandable. There are so many shoe models out there. So only people like myself who are in way too deep would even know half of the ones that are out there. But definitely switch up your search terms. Definitely, if you are someone who can wear ladies and men's shoes, make sure that you're selecting like sorting it by the ladies' size, sorting it by the men's size, so that way you can make sure that you're seeing all of your options. And then my last tip for you, which is actually related to the first tip, which was about making sure you're searching generic and also specific terms, is to know what the shoe you're looking for looks like. So if you are specifically looking for a specific shoe, make sure you know what it looks like. And also look at the pictures, because a lot of the times the name of the shoe will be on the side of the shoe in some capacity, and you can kind of narrow it down by that. Because again, someone might list a pair of like Evo SLs as the Adidas Boston shoe, but it's actually an Evo SL, and when you look at the picture, you can see that. And I would say just know what the shoe that you're looking for looks like, because if you can identify the shoe visually, it's going to save you a lot of hassle, and it's going to save you from having to message these people, see if they get back to you, which is fine. But if you can save yourself a step, you might as well do that. And that is going to be the end of this week's episode of Shoe Eating Monster and part 2 of our series of how to buy used shoes online. And if you liked this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to head over and hit the notification bell, so that way you can be notified when we have a new episode of RUNNAH and also of Shoe Eating Monster come out. And let me know below if you have any favorite places that you like to buy used shoes. And tune in next time for part 3 of this series, which I hope you're enjoying. And I will see you next time on the next episode of Shoe Eating Monster. And I don't have a pair of shoes, so we're just going to go nang, 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 nang. Ah! Thank you for listening to this episode of RUNNAH. This podcast is edited, hosted, and produced by me, Juliana Coughlin. Brought to you in part by the Falmouth Running Club and the Falmouth Community TV station. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at RUNNAHPod, and you can send us an email at runnahpod@gmail.com. And our original theme music was brought to you by the one and the only wonderful Jeffrey Hutton. And keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.